Nigerians have been calling on the president to change the security service chiefs. Finally, on January 26, 2021, President Muhammad Buhari appointed new security chiefs in the military, naming Major General Ibrahim Attahiru as the new Chief of Army Staff, replacing General Burutai. This is happening after violence erupted in the southwest and southeastern part of the country. Nigerians rose up to fight and defend themselves against killer headsmen. With this issue and many other security problems plaguing us as a country, I feel like we are sitting on a time bomb of war that can explode any moment if we don't do the needful. My name is Mercy Ebute, and I'm always really excited to welcome you to Peace Talk with Mercy, your #1 peace building talk show. Thank you for viewing and thank you for always engaging. I would like to hear from you in the comment section. Like the video, share. Let's spread the message of peace all around. We all need peace. So welcome to this edition. We are going to be discussing a very vital topic. The president just appointed new security service chiefs. What are expectations in regards to the state of security in our country? And then of course, what does the government need to do and all Nigerians need to do to ensure that we avert the looming war? I'll be bringing up my guest immediately who will help us do justice to this discussion. Prince Fyneface specializes in business advisory solutions, the provision of security solutions for household and corporate bodies. He was a state security certified VIP presidential bodyguard, certified surveillance with more than 2 decades experience in the security industry, also certified in transformational leadership with Institute of Leadership and Management, UK. A renewable energy and off-grid advocate and supporter of distributed energy generation and distribution. He is an energy warrior and advocate, a social commentator and public affairs analyst, author and a published blogger, minister and motivational speaker, and a counselor at the Cicero and Sage. Ladies and gentlemen, he is a big guest. Please help me welcome to Peace Talk in Mercy, Prince Fyneface. Prince Fyneface, it's good to have you on Peace Talk in Mercy one more time.
It's always been a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
I must commend you for the work you do. In fact, by the way, Happy New Year. This is our first time of
Yeah,
meeting.
it is. Happy New Year. Thank you so much. Good to see you.
Pleasure.
And you look good too.
Oh, thanks. I'm just trying to make sure I impress you.
Well, I'm impressed. We are impressed.
I like that.
All right, so we are going to be, starting our discussion immediately, and let's begin from the appointment of the new security service chiefs. What do you think about the appointment? Do you think it's a good step in the right direction when it comes to addressing insecurity issues in Nigeria, or you think it's just recycling of same old people as most Nigerians think?
Well, this was much more like a long overdue call. You remember that one of the last times we met, I'd made mention of the fact that the service chiefs need to be replaced. And in the place, bring in vibrant young men who will be able to carry on this thing. And because of the delay in replacing them, the likelihood of sabotage was also very high. Because some persons who ordinarily would have been promoted have not been promoted, so morale would have been gone. And so bringing it at this time, like somebody who had already given up, will it be that effective? Of course, some element of effect will come in. There's a tendency for those who have been appointed now to want to prove their onions by doing, so we're going to be seeing some changes in terms of theater commanders being replaced or strategies changing, maybe a morale boosting mechanism will be put in place. I am very sure these new service chiefs will want to prove that they have the capacity.
Yeah, but what's the tenure? Sorry to cut you there. What's
they
tenure
have
for
the first 2 years to be able to serve.
Okay.
Sometimes it's on the prerogative of the president to allow them to continue the second term. About 2 years is their tenure to make a difference.
Wow.
And what that means also is that with the appointment now, we're going to be seeing some in the northeast, kidnapping, banditry in the northwest and central. then pockets of militancy and all other agitations you're having in the south and the southeast. Recently, we're seeing a growing number of the people in the southwest as a result of killer headsmen, in quotes, trying to weigh them off, So we're going to be seeing some changes.
Okay, so this new energy is really appropriate.
The new energy, yes, of course. There's this tendency for us to look at the fact that these are still old ends. Some of them have like 2-3 years remaining for them to leave service. Some of them have like 6 years to leave service. But be that as it may, there's a tendency for us to see changes. And that is if Nigerians will give the necessary support and the president will release the necessary funds that will help them to achieve much. Because it's one thing to change service chiefs, another thing to have the right equipment, it's another thing to also have the right morale.
Very true.
Officers are men morale at the war front to do that thing. There's another thing also to have the right intelligence gathering mechanism put in place. How are we being able to fight this insecurity? Is it community based or is it just and the kind of warfare we have is not the most known conventional warfare. You have a pocket of guerrilla warfare happening on one side, religious infused warfare happening on the other side. So the tendency for all of those things to play out for and against is very, it's 50-50.
Yeah, because I was going to say that too, because what should Nigerians really expect when it comes to our security agents being loyal more to like people in authority than to people, I remember recently military guys were accused of killing citizens in the southeastern part of the country. So how can we break that bridge to understand that our security agents are more for citizens than being loyal to authority or powers in?
Well, I think it starts with the recruitment process, because as a country, we need to clearly define professionalism and do our recruitment based on meritocracy. We can't continue with this ethnic, religious, infused style of recruitment, where once there are job opportunities, what you find happening is that you see a situation where allocations have already been done for job recruitment to the president, to the Senate president, the House of Reps speaker, all of the people in authority, they all have allocations, slots for recruitment. If we take that away and we have the right people, then you will now know that we can also create what I call the job security. In Nigeria, the average employee of government does not have job security. So what happens, the service chiefs, that's when you heard them, those who have just been replaced, and said their loyalty, while the president was in a sick bed, they said their loyalty was for the president rather than for the country. Their loyalty is not supposed to one individual, it's supposed to be to the country. When they swore oath, they didn't swear oath to an individual, it was to the country, the constitution. So when you find people using sentiments to discharge their job responsibility, it's obvious that they have no job security. And so in order to keep the job, because if the president can hire and fire with ease, it makes it easy for those who will be fired to want to align, show some element of loyalty to the individual and do eye service. So what you find in the north, in the southeast that is happening currently, the brazenness, extrajudicial killings, it's also because of that the people are not, the military men, the service or the security agents are not accountable to the people, unlike what you have in civilized countries where they are accountable to the people.
Well, okay, that's good. So they need to be accountable to the people, not loyal to those who they are afraid would serve them. So they need to be ensured that there's some form of job security. How can we ensure that?
Yeah, I think I mentioned sometime, in one of our interviews that the National Assembly needs to, we do with the ministers, confirm. If we give that power to the National Assembly, the president can nominate, right? The National Assembly confirms. If the president needs to sack, the National Assembly also needs to have a two-thirds majority vote for such kind of sack. So for you to get to that level where you can get to top majority, it means you to give some sense of security, job security to those individuals. Because if they know they can't be sacked, they will do their job without fear or favor. We have a country currently where service chiefs, if it is police, the IG of police, can't even call the president to order. There can't be any prosecution taking place among those that are in the position of authority because for fear of losing their jobs.
Okay,
and also because we don't have men of honor who want to leave the work rather than to lose their name. They would rather lose their name to keep the work so that pays the bills. You know?
Yeah. So they need to actually go through a proper process of recruitment, which the National Assembly should play a major role.
Yes.
Okay, so we are going to talk on ensuring that this crop of service chiefs in the military do well and better. So let's look back a bit at what was happening before the appointment. There's a narrative that the present or the new chief of army staff was actually demoted or suspended, replaced
in his at the theater front.
At the theater, because there was some lapses in him performing his duty and all of that. So I'm thinking that same person who was accused of not doing his job very well is now the chief of army staff. I'm thinking, what should they do differently to ensure that this crop of leaders are more effective?
Question I think that came to my mind is, how do we build confidence in the minds of the people?
Yeah.
When you already just a couple of years back, you came up to say this person was not fit to command the man at the war front. Now he's not being given the responsibility to be in charge of the same army that he was not fit to. At the theater, it actually reduces the expectations that one have. Now, that's the benefit of that. It also shows us a deep-seated sentiment in our recruitment processes. I don't know other people would have been able to have a general appeal amongst officers and men in the military for the appointments. Because one of the things we must also consider is the fact that people that need to be led needs to appreciate those that will lead them.
Very true.
So if they lose confidence in those that will lead them, they will in turn begin to sabotage the effort of those that will lead them, because there's a disconnect. And I'm sure the president never took this into consideration. And this whole arrangement was not really thought out, in my own estimation, because of certain other sentiments. The peculiarity of Nigeria is that we are riddled with ethnic religious sentiments every now and then. And that is what guides and leads us in our choices, is affecting everything that we do in our polity. So that suspicion is ripe. And it was true, it was in the news, we had it in the media when Buratai, replaced him. And the reason that was given for his replacement was also in the media. If you flip it on the part of life, it's like, be careful how you treat people, kind of.
Yeah, part of life, but then you're talking of security.
But that's all part of it. It could be that it was doing well, it was unfairly removed. It could be.
Yeah, it's true.
It could be that it was unfairly removed, due to certain other sentiment. Maybe his loyalty was not that shown. And so now the opportunity is now given to prove himself. I mean, if you look at his face alone, it sends a signal that it's a no-nonsense, general. And so we want to see that play out in discharge of his responsibility as a no-nonsense general. I believe that from being a fine, gentle officer, I believe that he's going to come up with some innovative approaches, with which we can get this thing. Don't forget, the fight against insurgency and other security forms is not just a fight for military approaches. It also requires some economical, some social constructs, to be able to, because a lot of these persons who are involved in insurgency, banditry and all of the likes are not well educated, no better jobs for them. And so we need to look at that social construct and see how it can. So it must be a multi-pronged approach, economically, socially, religiously, and military, approaches, so as to be able to get the right results. Okay. So the government needs to do more in ensuring that people are gainfully employed, and also ensuring that we take serious our educational system, so that we get all these people go through. An educated mind is a rational mind. A mind that is not educated becomes brute in his approach of things and very crude. So we have to begin to think on how to change that.
All right. Thank you so much. You've said so much already on our expectations from the new military service chiefs. And I also want to address, when it comes to the direct impact, how Nigerians actually feel the impact. Like, we want to go out there and be confident and not be afraid that somebody is going to kidnap us or shoot us or do something. We are afraid of traveling from Abuja to Kaduna now.
It's too far.
And that is...
It's even too far. Abuja.
Abuja. Going from my house to the market, I have to be looking left, looking right, and all of that. So how does their effort translate to more safety on our roads?
Well, I think first Nigerians need to understand this. Your personal security is paramount.
Okay.
What it simply means that the educational system needs to, as a matter of urgency, inculcate safety and security education. So the little child understands simple drills of what needs to be done in times of emergency, in times of security issues, in times of safety requirements. What are the basics that need to be done? We need to also, Nigerians need to begin to also imbibe the culture of good neighborliness. I don't move into a place without getting to know my neighbors. It's a rule of thumb. I get into a place, I take drinks along with me to know my neighbors on the left, on the right, opposite, and a few other ones. Yeah, and I just move in this way, and I just want to introduce myself to them. We also need to ensure that government need to put in infrastructure. If you go to the street of Abuja, major streets are not lit up. There's gross darkness everywhere. Government must see that as a matter of crime control through environmental design, because the way we build our houses will help to inhibit, frustrate, criminal elements from carrying out their activities. Now, then our transportation system must have security consciousness embedded in the policy, which means that you don't just have vehicles flying the street, they must be documented, have the right biometrics of the drivers, have the routes that they cover. So once we define all of these principles, what it now simply means that you can come out of your house and get into a vehicle and know that the vehicle you get into is actually a vehicle that is documented. So if you forget your phone, if anything happens, you will know. Two, when you're getting into a vehicle, why don't you tell someone, I'm going so? So you need to be accountable to yourself and accountable to the person that you relate with. So if you have a partner, before you move from point A to point B, you're giving that partner an update to say, sweetheart, or whatever name you call your partner, I'm moving to the market, Wuse Market. Now, sometimes you tell someone, I'm going to Wuse too. There's no specification. It's always important you tell whoever you're telling exactly where you're going to. Should there be a change in your journey, it's also important you give an update. I just got to Wuse too now. I realized that I forgot something, so I'm going back XYZ. Such kind of updates will also help. Should there be any challenge, the what stop the government to also begin to install the CCTV that is required. Today we are lucky we have facial recognition, software, and we're already been captured with our national identity number registration. So it simply means that if we go through this concentric measure, go to NIN, or which is now having a more updated, or go to the BVN packages. We have close to about 60 million Nigerians that have been registered. Now, 45 to 50 million more Nigerians have been registered into the database before now. So the number is increasing. We can take this number. In fact, if we go through the SIM card registration alone, we have 286 million active telephone lines, registered lines, which means every phone number already have a biometric feature. Now, about 196 of them, they are connected and active. So what we can do is to take that data and put it into our security architecture, then have facial recognition CCTV installed at different locations. So once you get into a location, there's supposed to be at least one CCTV monitoring to 1,000 persons, at least. Budgetary provisions, at least. Then you'll be able to know. So if anything goes wrong, we can easily trace patterns and arrest or stop whatever it's supposed to be. See, once you put all of this consciousness put in place, we'll be able to reduce crime to the barest minimum. Now, I don't forget, I also mentioned the social construct, which simply means that we need to be able to we need to show generosity and benevolence in our relationship. One of the things I did during the lockdown was to be able to feed my neighborhood. Not everybody, especially those that
need it.
Yeah, those that need it. The miscreants and those who look like it. Different food types were given, funds were given. Because if you don't do that, you will become the first target. So are we consciously doing the same thing? Or we look at them as low achievers and treat them with disdain? Yeah. But now, once you do that, in turn sees you as the reason for his predicament, not knowing that his parents shouldn't have even in the first place, if they're giving birth to him, if they're actually doing the right planning. So we have to, there's a whole lot of consulting measures that need to put in place.
In a nutshell, security is everyone's
responsibility.
So we all have to play our role.
Our role, yes.
Like the social construct you talk about is very key.
Very
I have
key.
a lot of them around of me too, and I try to make sure that they are okay.
Which is very important.
Very important, because
they become your bodyguards.
Seriously. Like, I tell some of them to even escort me when like it's not really bright and I need to go somewhere. So we need to, be mindful of those kind of people around us. Thank you so much. All right, so we're going to be talking about the Fulani herdsmen or killer herdsmen, so to say. How do you draw the line? Because they are giving quick notice to Fulani herdsmen all over the country, from the east, from the west, and all of that. We are not tolerating even the innocent ones who are somewhat good and our friends. So where do you draw the line between the killer herdsmen and then, of course, the well-meaning Fulani herdsmen?
Well, first, it's important we be able to avoid certain stereotypes.
Thank you.
I'm careful to want to use the stereotypes. Crime is crime, irrespective of who commits it. When an Igbo man commits crime, we should look at the crime that he committed, not his ethnicity, or neither his religion. Because when crime is committed, crime does not actually have religious or ethnic face. It's an individual thing. Said so, we've seen the prevalence of those in quotes who are herdsmen, and they are majorly Fulanis. Because it will shock you to know that the other tribes who are also into herding. Then you look at the herding that they involve, the business of herding. Why is it difficult for us to have ranches for these people?
Ranches, is that Ruga?
No, not Ruga. Ranches, Abdullahi, the former governor of Nasarawa State, he has a ranch in Nasarawa there. Why is it that the big men love to punish the small men? I'll give you a reason. In the Fulani culture has an embedded caste system. There's something we're actually not addressing.
Yeah.
Those who go to do the heads are part of the lowest rank in the caste system. That's why they say it's a traditional thing. Culture evolves. The system makes it difficult for that ranching to take place because they don't want the people to begin to have a sense of responsibility and rights, or what I would call a sense of awareness. So you go on the road and do your thing. That's why you find little children as herders, and most of these little children are the ones who sometimes run through other people's farms, resulting to the clashes that we're seeing. There is no excuse cogent enough to allow for this herding that is taking place without the ranches that is needed. We are in the 21st century. Botswana is one of the highest exporters of beef in Africa. In fact, they have more cows than humans at some points. Some countries in Africa have more cows. You know what? They see that as a major business, what they've done to create enabling environments. So what we needed to do, if we have such shortage of water within the northern region, in quote, they can look at places where we can easily get dams. There are so many dams in the north. Those dams can serve as access to water for the herds. And what we needed to do is to have a well-mechanized ranch. It doesn't take much to do such.
I say these ranches can be in all the states or just in the
north? No, the ranches can be in the zones where these people are coming from. They move based on the weather. Once it is a period of the dry season, you see them moving towards the south because you have high vegetation with a lot of streams and all of those things.
But you also have herders in other states.
They are looking for cheap resources. But they make so much. Lagos alone kills more than 10,000 cows a day. If you do 160,000 for one cow, that's how much?
That's a lot of money.
Billions running. So can that money be utilized? But also because a lot of these herders, what they do, they have different people who give them these heads to do the herding. So you have the Christian, the Muslim, all giving them cows to head for them. So, but because they must maintain their lineage, integrity, they can kill to prove that they were not the ones who roasted the cows or killed the cows or stole the cow. It's integrity sustenance that you see them do to go to that length. Because they themselves steal themselves, they steal from themselves. That's the castle rustling now. They have to now form militia groups for protection. They also have an internal subtle land grabbing mentality. You see them as a subtle. It has a subtle hand of land grabbing and genocidal, reality. You get to a neighborhood, you have a little problem with the people. The next thing you do, you kill the people, sack the community, and take over the land. There are many villages that no longer exist, that used to exist in other tribes because of the presence of the Fulani headsmen with no religion. So what they do, once they sack the community, they take over the land and they name that place a new name. If you go to Kaduna, if you go to Taraba, if you go to Benue, now you are finding similar kind of realities in the southwest. I mean, there are those who have been there for close to 40, 50 years. They've been there close to, they are gradually infiltrating into the system and becoming part of the indigenous of those places. Some of them marry from the regions. If you go to Southeast, they are everywhere. In my village, there are herders. I'm from Kola, which is like the Bight of Bonnet, the Atlantic Ocean. We have them there. Nothing stopping any Nigerian from traveling to anywhere. But it is important, it is done in the way that it's supposed to be done. You don't come to my place when you are entertained because of a little problem. You bring in people from mercenaries from outside, kill all my people, rape my women, my mothers and my sisters, then my wives. After raping all of these people, then you take over the land, we become refugees. Today we have more refugees in Nigeria, internally displaced people, than war-torn region like Central African Republic and other areas that are war-torn. Is that something we should be embracing? What stops the president? There was a time during Dan Bazal time, it was said that they're going to give 100 billion to settle the Fulani herdsmen. We don't know what happened after that statement that they made. What stopped the government through central bank giving loans, single-digit loans to these herders, as they do with anchor growers, with the farmers, give them loans to help them set up ranches? What stops state governments as a way to become interventionist government, setting up ranches that some of this, instead of traveling, you see sometimes what they go through, they put them on trailers, transport them to the south. Sometimes they have accidents. You see a lot of this cow dead on the road, human beings dead. Why do we have to go through such stress? Why can't we be able to create, let's say, a ranch is supposed to not only just be a ranch for ranch, there's supposed to be a place for milk, for yogurt, for beef, for the bones. I traveled to Cuba and I bought some artworks, beautiful artworks. To my shock, they were actually bones from cow, used for the artwork. The same bones can be used for shock production and other things. So there's a lot of value chain that can be deployed. If we get into the right proper ranching mechanism, it will reduce by 80% the crimes being perpetrated by these criminals. So by 80%. So
the solution is proper ranching mechanism?
You will do mechanized ranching to carry, that comes with, it comes with the abattoir attached to it. That means you have to get clean beef from that place, well packaged. They can package their beef and send to other states rather than the cow going to destroy the land, and they'll be buying. Then you have the hides and skin from the same, the cow business. Nigeria's leather is one of the best.
Okay.
Saying that the cow graze and it makes them look stronger and all of those things, that's not a good excuse.
Right.
For me, the excuse is simply the caste system that operates within the industry.
Thank you so much. There's so much we need to do as a country, actually. This is not rocket science. There are basic, infrastructural things that we can put in place that are really
political will.
Political will is very important. Thank you so much. But I would also like to say these Fulani headsmen are also quite organized when it comes to the Meeti Allah group, always coming back.
In fact, you said something. Let me just interject here.
Yeah.
The Fulanis happen to have one of the best organized security network.
Security
network, yes. And two, They are also well organized with their data. They have proper data management. They know who they are, where they are, and when they get to where they are. They have a very robust data management mechanism put in place.
Managed by?
By themselves.
Miyetti Allah?
Not necessarily Miyetti Allah. The Fulanis. They are one of the ethnic groups in Nigeria that are most organized. And that is why
in any case, it will be easy to actually locate those who are perpetrating the killing.
They know themselves. They know who is involved.
But there's also an accusation of people coming from Niger that are not accounted for.
That's why I said they know themselves. For you to say they're coming from Niger, meaning you know who is coming in. When we listen to Erifai talking about going to settle those who were offended, that one is coming for retaliation, how did they get to know those who were responsible? Because there's a robust security network in their midst. They communicate effectively.
So it goes back to political will also.
It's the political will, sincerity of leadership. See, we have a problem, a challenge in this country where we haven't really gotten the right leadership to lead us. We've always had people who are riddled with ethnic religious sentiments. Now, forgetting that those who get involved using their position in authority to champion their ethnic interests are basically jingoists. And those who do that to champion their religious interests are bigots. But that's what you see happening every now and then. They use their position in authority to advance their religious interests. Use same to advance their ethnic interests. We can stop all of that if we have nationalistic interests put in place. It simply means we need to raise the bar up and go by meritocracy in our recruitment process. We cannot afford to go by the way we're going and think that we're going to have benefit success. Then cultures need to begin to evolve. Let's take away caste system from, you have that embedded in the north. We have caste system in every culture. I mean, you go to the southeast today, they still have what they call the Osu. And they have other this thing. But you go to the you still have that if the king needs to be buried, somebody has to be put in place. That's those are systems that need to be abolished. We can't, because those things were done because of the access to limited information. We've gone beyond that stage. Let's begin to look at the human being as a human being first, before it's ethnic or religious.
So we need a lot of mind shifts, from that kind of barbaric thinking and acts to really embracing new modern society, the new and modern society. Then talking about agitations all over the country, we have IPOP, and recently some group rose up in the southwest also agitating for Oduduwa Nation. They are agitating for Biafra. We are agitating for some country. I don't know if the North have reason to say they want to break up also, but they are all kinds.
The North believe they own the nation, so.
One Nigeria.
No, they believe they own the nation.
Okay, they believe they own the nation for real. Nigeria belongs to everyone, so we are going to be rounding up so quickly, but we need to address this issue because it's in this division that our country is threatened. That is why I'm thinking that we need to address all of this to avert the looming war.
What stops us from embracing restructuring?
Yes. So a lot of people come on when I say something and they come, no, there's nothing like one Nigeria. Nigeria cannot work except there's a breakup and all of that. But I think one Nigeria is very possible.
It's possible.
Like you said, you understand? Just need political will and then some patriotic citizens.
No, it's possible only when we change.
Do you believe in one Nigeria, and how can we achieve that?
I believe in one Nigeria. I believe that Nigeria can remain one entity if we do away with our current constitution. The 1999 constitution as amended is a fraud. Is where our biggest problem is. It's a constitution that does not capture the various interests of the Nigerian nationals, looking at the peculiarity of our ethnic, religious sentiments. So we don't need to amend the constitution. We do away with the constitution completely. And the Nigerian people will sit down to now agree on how to live together as one entity. It's only until we are able to achieve that we can truly do the right restructuring. When we had the regions grew according to their own pace. And so we need to change that. We need to go back to the stage where every state needs to look at what they have to get what they need. Then we're now coming back to that point where you see that Eastbank cannot just go begin to destroy alcoholic drinks, then they still collect VAT from alcoholic drinks. I mean, that's mockery. You get, so the constitution needs to be done away with completely. Then we can now embrace restructuring. Then we no need to see, because Nigeria is a federal, nation. So what we now look at, we need to begin to look at our federal fiscal policy. Let's ensure that the central is not overly strong. The federating unit gives the power to the federal. So they all pay their dues. Look at America today. Yeah, America is this strong because every state runs according to their own pace. If you do, they are not equal. And that gives us success. It's only until we do that, we'll be able to get the right success that is expected. So security is embedded in equitable distribution of our commonwealth, in justice for all, equality before the law, in fairness in our interaction and relationship, then in equality. See, there's equitable, there's equality, there's fairness, and there's justice. If we happen to carry these four things together, then we know that we have a country to live and die for.
Wow, that's a strong one and a good way to also end this discussion. Thank you so much, Mr. Prince Kevin Fyneface. All right, guys, we have heard so much about how we can ensure that our country don't go into war, but we are united and fight for a peaceful and for a Nigeria that works for each and every one of us. And of course, what we expect from our newly appointed security service chiefs. So that is what we have today on Peace Talk with Mercy. Please stay with us as we continue to discuss these issues. We'll be up again on Monday by 3 p.m. or 5 p.m. depending on the kind of show we'll be having, but stay tuned to Peace Talk with Mercy. I would always like to send my appreciation to all my viewers, appreciation to all our supporters and sponsors for keeping this show alive and then helping us to get better with our discussion. Thank you so much, and this is Peace Out from me and my guests, Prince Kevin Fyneface. I don't want to miss out on that place, Prince. He's a prince of his community.
Yeah, not his kingdom.
Of his kingdom. Yes. All right. Thank you, viewers. Stay tuned. Hi, my name is Mercy Evote, the host of the talk show Peace Talk with Mercy. With spate of insecurity, increased domestic violence, hate, cultural stereotype, all kinds of conflicts happening in our society, it is important that we promote peace. So Peace Talk with Mercy, in line with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 16, aims at promoting peace, justice, and an inclusive society. We bring stakeholders, thought leaders, peace practitioners, and all concerned Nigerians together to talk on how we can promote and ensure our peace and enhance our security. Join us every Monday at 5 p.m. as we discuss these issues and many more. Follow Peace Talk with Mercy on all social media platforms. Thank you.